Welcome to my December 2020 horoscope series. This month is going to be absolutely historical in nature. We are experiencing an astrological event which only occurs every 20 years, and that is the great conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn. Now, what's special about this particular great conjunction is that we haven't had one in the sign of Aquarius in over 600 years. Guys, please watch my horoscope videos for your ascendant, sun, and moon sign, because this is really going to set the tone for the next 2 decades. Everyone will be affected, but the signs who will see the most monumental and cataclysmic changes are Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. Without further ado, let's dive straight in. Hi Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Risings. That's my cat Franklin. Welcome to your December 2020 horoscope. The month starts off with Mercury entering your sign in Sagittarius in the first house, and Mercury will remain there for 3 weeks. With Mercury here, you'll be thinking a lot about your path in life. You might do a lot of self-analysis and introspective work, and some of you could even be having a change to your physical appearance, whether that's thinking about getting a new haircut, trying out a new look, or just sprucing up your wardrobe. Now, on the 14th or 15th of December, depending where you live in the world, there will be a new moon total eclipse in your sign. So that'll be occurring in Sagittarius at 23 degrees. We will also have Mercury conjunct the South Node in Sagittarius at 19 degrees. And this will all be squaring Neptune in Pisces at 18 degrees, which will be in your 4th house. Now, new moons always bring about new beginnings in some way, shape, or form. But when it's an eclipse, and especially a total solar eclipse, these new beginnings are fated in nature, and they're very powerful new beginnings. And you will see the culmination of the effects of this eclipse take place within 3 to 6 months. So that's, let's say, mid to end of May, but you could even see it come into effect by the end of 2021, seeing as this is in your sign. Now, the nature of this new beginning could be several things, and it will depend a lot on whether you have a Sagittarius sun, moon, or ascendant. Of course, some of you might have sun and moon in Sag, or any combination, but in any case, this will be the most powerful for Sagittarians who have the sun, moon, or ascendant at or around 23 degrees, and I'll give it 3 degrees either side. So it can be anywhere from 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, up to 26 degrees. That will be the most powerful for you individuals. So if it is your sun that is in Sagittarius, this new moon solar eclipse will bring about an enormous change to your career. Some of you will be changing your career or your industry in its entirety, and others of you might see a huge promotion at work or a change of department. In any case, it will be an incredibly impactful change to your career. For others of you with a Sagittarius sun, this could be a large life-changing direction that your father takes in his life, because the sun also represents the father in an individual's chart. And for others of you, it could be your husband, your male life partner, or someone who identifies with their masculinity. Okay, they don't have to be male per se. Now, for your ascendant, you Sagittarius ascendants, this will be pertaining to career, relationships, your emotional self, your physical self. Definitely, you can have a huge physical transformation, and you could certainly be looking completely different within the next 6 or so months. And for your ascendant sign, it could still be about your career and your path in life. Whereas if it's a Sagittarius moon, this will be more something to do with your relationships, especially your relationships with women, with children, and it could be a huge life change for your mother if you have a Sagittarius moon. Now, this eclipse in particular will involve some kind of sacrifice or letting go of something. And the reason for that is that the South Node is conjunct Mercury, and as I said, it's square Neptune. South Node represents detachment and in some instances loss, and Neptune also indicates loss and confusion. So for some of you, it could be letting go of a relationship, and that is the sacrifice that you make. For others of you, it could be letting go of a certain lifestyle, a job or career, and it's probably one that you're quite attached to. So it might be very hard for you to walk away from this job, which has really become an intrinsic part of you. And for others of you, you could actually be letting go of emotional trauma or emotional disturbances, because this Neptune square, Neptune is in the 4th house, and that rules family, land, property, where you live, and your really deep emotional security. So, you could actually be going on a new journey, and it's perhaps more of a spiritual journey where you are letting go of the old you, so to speak, to make room for the new you, the new and improved you, I should say. Now, on the 15th of December, Venus will be entering Sagittarius. So again, this will be in your 1st house. And with Venus in your 1st house is your physical incarnation. It's your physical self. And with Venus here, you're likely to feel more attractive, more beautiful. You'll be receiving a lot of compliments over the next 4 weeks. So say mid-December, whenever Venus moves on into Capricorn. And for others of you, or in addition to that, you could be more diplomatic and more charming at this time. The fact that you have Mercury and Venus here together, and of course the total solar eclipse, means that there'll be a lot of communication back and forth. People will be seeking out your advice or wanting to spend more time with you, wanting to get your opinion on certain things. So you can anticipate an increased period of communication, emails, phone calls, and texts for the next few weeks. Now, on the 17th of December, Saturn will be entering the sign of Aquarius, and Saturn hasn't been in Aquarius for about 29 years. 2 days later, Jupiter will be entering Aquarius, and Jupiter hasn't been in Aquarius for 12 years. So both of these planets will be in your 3rd house, and the 3rd house rules many, many different things. So I'll go over those in just a moment. The most important astrological event will be on the 21st of December, where we see the great conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius in your 3rd house. Now, the great conjunction occurs once every 20 years, and this conjunction hasn't been seen in Aquarius in over 600 years, since the year 1405. And whenever these two planets come together, they kickstart a new life cycle, and this cycle will span 20 years. So for 2 decades, you will see the physical manifestation of this conjunction in the 3rd house start to take place. So what this can mean for you, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Risings, well, there's a personal level. Sorry, that was my fridge. It scared me. On a personal level, this will affect some or more of the following. You can have a totally new, revised mentality and mindset shift. For many of you Sagittarians, you might have been experiencing a period of melancholy, or in some instances anxiety and depression. And with this conjunction taking place in your third house, you can actually push the reset button on your entire perception of the world. And this is really about your inner dialogue and how you speak to yourself. It's, going to affect how critical you are of yourself, how you perceive yourself. And the third house also represents our courage and our willpower. So you will have a new increased ability to set your mind to something and bring it to fruition. Now that's more on the emotional and spiritual level, but on the physical level, you will see improved financial circumstances now that Saturn and Jupiter are coming out of Capricorn, which is your second house of what the second house represents finances, and you can experience increased abundance in your financial situation. A lot of you will be learning a new skill or talent, or even a language or an instrument, and these new skills will be instrumental in defining what comes next with your career. And even if you're retired, it doesn't have to be pertaining to career. This will still affect your contribution to society as a whole. And, a lot of you will be learning skills or talents related to writing, speaking, music, arts, crafts, a trade. The third house also rules photography. So anything that you do with your hands, anything that you either begin learning or taking a course in, or even just furthering your development and understanding of these areas, the culmination of this coursework or training or learning that you do will be something that you will continue to use and develop for the rest of your life. Now, the fruits of your labor, or bringing these new skills into the physical realm and seeing them materialize, will take place somewhere between the end of 2021 and the second quarter of 2023. The reason for that is that Jupiter will remain in your third house for a year. So that'll be end of 2021 until it moves into Pisces. And with Jupiter, that's our dreams and our wishes. And Jupiter is a planet which represents learning. And Saturn is also a planet which represents learning. And Saturn will be in your third house in Aquarius until March 2023. So these two planets coming together in this conjunction is enabling you to learn, study, and Saturn will make you do repetitive, hard work over and over again until you perfect it and until you get it just right. Now, others of you will be starting your own business, and for some of you, if you are a writer or photographer or anything that you do with your own two hands, or a public speaker, you will produce some work, some creative work or working communications, which will be something that defines your career or your legacy going forward for the next 20 years. Lastly, with this great conjunction, some of you may have been experiencing issues with your younger siblings, and more specifically, your immediate youngest sibling. And after this great conjunction, you might actually experience this relationship resolving or receive some kind of healing to the relationship in some way, shape, or form. And again, this will take place, if it manifests for you, end of 2021 or at least after March 2023. Okay, moving along, on the 20th of December, Mercury will enter the sign of Capricorn, and this will be in your second house. On the 21st of December, the Sun will enter Capricorn, which effectively kicks off Capricorn season. So with Mercury and the Sun in your second house together for at least 3, if not 4 weeks, you will be thinking and focusing a lot on your finances, your financial situation, your money, your financial income, streams of income. And this is the personal income that you make. This is not about your mutual resources with a life partner, a spouse, or a business partner. This is purely what you earn. And you'll also be thinking a lot about your valuables, your possessions. Some of you may even be selling valuables and possessions during this 3 or 4 week period. And on a more emotional level, the second house rules everything that you value, and that includes your self-worth, how much you value yourself, how you perceive yourself. Are you giving yourself enough credit? Have you been berating yourself or putting yourself down, and now you're actually thinking about the value that you bring to your relationships and the value that you bring to your career, because the Sun represents the career in one's birth chart. Lastly, on the 29th or the 30th of December, again, depending where you live in the world, there will be a full moon in Cancer in your 8th house, and this will be opposite Mercury in your second house, and Mercury and the Sun in Capricorn in the second will be making a beautiful trine to Uranus in Taurus in your 6th house. So there's a 2-part manifestation for this full moon. On the one hand, you could be achieving something in terms of your financial resources, and in this case, it will be either your mutual resources with a life partner, spouse, or business partner, because the 8th house is where the full moon is, and the 8th house represents mutual resources. And this will, of course, increase your own individual financial income situation with the opposition in the second house. Now, for others of you, it doesn't have to be the resources that you share with someone else. If you work for yourself or if you offer services to clients, this can see a large spike in the money that you receive from those clients, indicated by the 8th house. And again, this directly impacts your second house. And this is the culmination of the hard work seen by the trine to Uranus in the 6th house, because the 6th house represents your work and your daily job. So on a totally different level, this can actually see the healing of some kind of family issue or to do with your lineage, because the second house represents your family values and your lineage as a whole, and the 8th house represents trauma, healing, and psychological introspection and therapy. And the 6th house represents our habits, and in many cases, our poor daily habits. So you can certainly heal something on a deep psychological level, and this will be pertaining to your values with your family life and your lineage, and perhaps forgiving your family. And this will, of course, see a healing take place for you, which actually improves your 6th house matters, which are your relationship with health, exercise, and food. So the 3 are definitely all linked together. Well, Sagittarius, that's all I have for you for the month of December. And it's the last video that I'll be doing for the entire year. So if you enjoyed this content, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, please subscribe to K Astrology. Enjoy the rest of 2020, and I will see you next year.